I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Dan. Thank you so much for that. If anyone wants to request pretty much any other type of videos or topics or reviews, re-reviews, what have you, please feel free to send a request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. At this time, I'm talking about the 13th floor. And sorry, I don't know why my nose is itching as soon as I start the fucking video. Then my nose starts to itch. I swear I don't do cocaine. Although maybe I should. Because that's what people in the 80s did. They made good movies, or at least fun movies. But getting back to this is one of those films that was produced by Roland Emmerich. This is when he got the deal after the success of films like Independence Day, Stargate, and then he had started this company, and this is one of the films done under his company. And it's directed by Joseph Rusnick. Now, funny enough, this guy would go on to direct the Wesley Snipes direct-to-video film, The Contractor, and the It's Alive remake. And I went, wow, this is actually a pretty decent film. Those other two, not so much. So it's like, man, did this guy just give up after this movie? Because this film, when it came out, it did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. It flopped at the box office. I don't think it did much with critics. And it was forgotten, but it's actually a really decent science fiction film. And that's the thing. The way it was advertised, number one, don't watch the trailer. Don't watch the TV spots. Because one of those that they give everything away, and they mislead you in the trailers. And that's not the people who make the movie, it's not their fault. Most of the time, they don't get to have any say in the marketing. Because the studio's like, no, that's another group. They get paid to do that. They will market it. They will edit the trailers. And like, there's certain lines in this movie that are twisted to be very different than what it is in the movie. And again, there's big, important moments that are spoiled in the fucking trailer. So yeah, if you want to see this film, do not see the trailer first. Do not. And that's another thing. When this came out, this was the time of The Matrix, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, among other sci-fi films. I think with the 13th Floor, people thought maybe it'd be much more of an action film, or much more of a more tense thriller, when really it's a science fiction story. It's a movie that takes a bit of its time, but I thought it was a decent science fiction picture, and I thought Joseph Rusnick did a pretty capable job directing it. He sets up his shots very well. Even with me, there were a couple times in the middle that I think, we could get this going a little bit quicker, mainly in maybe like, a little less than halfway in the film. There's some editing in there. But while it's not an original idea, I mean, you could almost say it's almost a different take on The Matrix in a weird way, but it's still an idea that I thought was fairly well executed. Now, the movie stars Greg Bierko, you have Dennis Haysbert, Armin Mueller-Stahl, Vincent D'Onofrio. In 1999, there's this VR simulation being set up where people can go back and live in 1937. It's in the testing stages. Armin Mueller-Stahl, this older gentleman, which I've seen in a few movies. He was in the 1998 X-Files movie, Fight the Future. He's been in a few other stuff. You look him up. Very solid actor. And he's tested it up. And one thing leads to another, and he gets murdered. He's in 1937. He goes back, and we don't see who it is, but he gets killed. Craig Bierko works for him. Dennis Haysbert plays a police officer, detective, looking into this. And they're wondering, well, what? Hey, your boss, your friend was murdered. Who could have done it? Or maybe something to do with this technology. Vincent D'Onofrio is a guy who works there. He's a nice guy, computer software guy. Then this girl comes in who is supposed to be the daughter of Armin Mueller-Stahl. I was like, wait, he never told me he had a daughter. And then this mystery that unfolds where Greg Bierko, our lead, has to go back into the VR simulation into the 1930s to figure out what is going on, what is happening, what maybe led to his friend, his boss's death. And that's kind of as far as I want to go right now. I thought the actors did their jobs well. Craig Bierko, I thought he worked well as the lead. I honestly did. Usually I see him as a bad guy. I think he was the bad guy in The Long Kiss Goodnight, I believe, with Gina Davis. I could be wrong, but I think that was him. I haven't seen too many films with him as a lead, but I thought he did a capable job. Dennis Haysbert, always nice to see him. And yeah, I always remember him from Major League. You know, with his bat. Jumbo. So fuck you, Jumbo. I do it myself. I like Dennis Haysbert. Vincent D'Onofrio, actually playing a decent person. You know, usually he plays a villain. But yeah, I like the way it was directed. I like the difference the director had between 1999 and the 30s. Where the 30s, you could tell the color's a bit diluted to match sort of that period, that era that we think of. But then when it's in 1999, it feels more colorful. Like you have these green lasers amongst the VR software when you go under into the VR simulation. But it felt more colorful in there. And then again, the 30s, the direction of going a little bit more diluted, you know, black and white, you know, type of feel. I thought that was a nice touch. And yeah, I thought the investigation at times took a bit too long, a bit too laddie, a bit too sluttish. There are certain things, I think some of those could have been edited, not pumped up, but just edited a little bit quicker. And I liked the little journey that I went through as a viewer. Because I might have seen this once a long time ago, but I didn't remember anything about it. So I watched the film. I liked the journey, the twists and turns. I was kind of, I won't say impressed is a strong word, but I liked what was happening. Again, I thought it was a decent enough story. I guess I'm not alone. It has a decent rating on IMDb. But I think with its marketing, it was, people thought with Roland Emmerich, his name put on there, it'd be like Stargate, or it'd be like, you know, just the action, which even Stargate doesn't have much action, honestly, but they didn't market, they marketed it as more of a fast-paced, either action thriller, you know, sci-fi film, not just, there's no really action in it. There's maybe a little bit of thriller aspect. But yeah, more of a science fiction story. And like I said, Is it anything original? No. I mean, the whole VR, that's been done many times. I mean, Virtuosity, which I love with Denzel Washington, that was before this film. So if you want your action kicks with that, like Virtuosity is for you. But this, where do I go when I don't want to spoil it? Other than a few pacing issues with when he's investigating the first, again, some of that was went a bit too long. I did overall enjoy the movie, mainly because I enjoyed the story. I have to go into spoilers so I can properly explain that. So, starting now, spoilers. During the investigation, and you have like a 2-hour limit when you go back, he does to find out that Armin Mueller-Stahl left a letter, but that 30s has versions of themselves in there. So like there's a version of Craig Bierko's character, and that's who he goes into. Sort of takes over that simulated person for a while, for this 2 hours. And there's another Vincent D'Onofrio character, another Armin Mueller-Stahl character. And so he's talking to Armin Mueller-Stahl, who doesn't know him because he's not the same as his boss, but it's cool because you get to see more of that actor in the movie. But it goes into this letter that the Vincent in the 30s, he found out about it, and he goes a bit crazy. So you did both a good Vincent D'Onofrio and an evil Vincent D'Onofrio. So technically you do get the best, you did both. Which I thought was an interesting thing to see. And that's what I mean, this was given away if you watch the trailers, which was crazy. It's like one of the biggest twists in the movie. But, like I said, I didn't remember anything about the film, and I didn't watch the trailer, so I just went in and went, oh, shit, like one of those things. What the letter entailed was that, oh, go to a place you never thought you would go, you never dreamed of going. And Vincent D'Onofrio had done that in the 30s, and he found out he was in a simulated world, and that's why he's going a bit more crazy. But the letter was for Craig Bierko. And in 1999, he goes back, and he does the same thing, and he reaches the limit, and there's all these lasers and green lasers, and he, and the film we've been watching, is also in a simulated world. This 1999 is not real either. So they go into a simulation while also in a simulation. And I cannot believe that was given away in the trailer. Why is that hard to believe? They do that all the time. That's why I'm almost at the point I don't want to watch any fucking trailers for a film I have not seen. Because it just ruins a lot of enjoyment with trailers. Like, on a tangent, Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage. Sounds interesting to me. Five Nights at Freddy's, Nicolas Cage, like, fun. I know the poster. I know a couple of still pictures. I'm not watching the trailer because I don't want the entire movie ruined for me. That's why I didn't watch the trailers for the John Wick films. At least the John Wick 2 and 3. I'm like, no, I'm just going to watch them, and it was the better experience. So anyway. And then he finds the girl who's Armin Mueller-Stahl's daughter, but she's different. Now she's just this regular girl working in a grocery store. And you find out that girl is from the actual real world, which is like 2024. And she's like, yeah, there's thousands of these emulations, and there's thousands of these VR simulations, but yours is the only one that create a simulation of as well within. And she talks about how she's in love with them, and he's like, how can you love me? I'm not even real. Hey, you two fall in love with a dream. And your user is a person I fell in love with, my husband, but he changed, and you're the guy, you're the version of him that is the pristine version. And I've watched you ever since you were created. And I don't know, just different ideas, like interesting ideas that I thought were brought to it, as well as the idea of the 1999 visit D'Onofrio. He goes into the simulation because he wants to experience 1930s. Well, during it, he dies, so technically his soul dies, and whatever soul, whatever it was in that 1930s Vincent, travels through, and now he's possessing the 1999 Vincent's body. Oh, I was saying about how the trailer takes certain words. Like, if you watch the trailer, there's a line where Craig Bierko says, "It's the end of the world." The way they make it on the trailer, they make you go, "Oh my God." Literally, this experiment has a mind of its own, and if they don't stop it, it will be the end of the world. And then they're going to have Craig Bierko go, "It's the end of the world." That's not the movie. It's not an end of the world. No, it's not an end of the world scenario. It's literally like someone's asking him on a phone, like the girl's asking, "Where are you?" And he goes, "At the end of the world." Because he's there finding out that the simulation's real. I mean, that he finds out he's in a simulation. He's literally at the end of the world. That's what the line pertains. He's literally there. Not that it's going to be the end of the world. It shows what they could do with lines of dialogue and twist them around to have a completely different meaning and mislead people in fucking marketing. The ending, it lost a little bit of footing. Well, it's not the ending. The ending I like. The ending I found actually very nice. I thought it was a nice ending. It's the finale, because what happens is Craig Bierko's user goes into his body and starts using Craig's body. And that's what he did. Like, he used Craig's body to kill Armin Mueller-Stahl. He used his body again to try to kill the girl. Ultimately, Dennis Haysbert shoots him. And by shooting him and killing that asshole, Craig Bierko, the good one finally... And now he's in the real world. So it actually works out nice. But the thing that bothered me about that is that you're following your lead character. And during this final... It's not action, but this final qualm, this final predicament, that's the word, your lead is inconsequential because he's put out of action. Like the Craig Bierko we're following, he's put out of action. He's frozen in time. If they did it where somehow he was fighting back with the body, like he's ready to kill, but he's fighting back, that could be something new, something different, something to bring to the table. And so at least he's doing something to help her survive. And maybe the 99 Craig Bierko is fighting back, but then the user, he's more powerful, overcomes it, and then Dennis Haysbert shoots him. At least that means the 99 Craig Bierko did something. At least he was trying to accomplish something. At least he didn't seem like entirely out of it, which, I don't know, wasn't really the most satisfactory for me. Like I said, if you had somebody where he was trying to fight back, at least gave her enough time of safety until finally the cop, Dennis Haysbert, arrives. At least that'd be something. But it's not. Maybe people think that'd be too cliche, but I mean, it's not always a bad thing. But the ending is nice, because the good Craig Bierko, he's in the real world. There's Armin Mueller-Stahl, the version in the real world, and yeah, he really is my dad. And it was a happy ending. It worked out well. Like I said, the 13th Floor is a pretty decent flick. Sci-fi film. The title, I like the title, but the title almost makes it seem as if it's a haunted house movie, or not a house, but I don't know why the 13th Floor just sounds like a horror movie title. The 13th Floor. Because I'm thinking like 13 Ghosts or something else, but again, if you go in and thinking it's horror or thriller or action, I think you'd be very disappointed. But you want a movie that's more of a little slower paced science fiction story. I thought it did a decent job building up some of his characters, and I liked the twist that happened. And I thought, again, overall, it was a pretty decently satisfying story. I mean, I got more out of the story than Tenet that came out recently about others, and it was less confusing and shorter. So overall, the 13th Floor, I did not mind it at all. Again, maybe some pacing issues around the middle, the third act. I didn't mind the two leads and them falling in love. I didn't mind. It's not like a great love story, but I didn't mind it. Vincent D'Onofrio, nice to see him play two different kinds of characters in the same movie. Like I said, I like the ending. It didn't go some cheap shot, out of the blue, bleak ass stuff. Gotcha. Yeah, it didn't do that. It ended in a very satisfactory manner. So yeah, I did like the 13th Floor, and like I said, this film bombed, and I guess the director gave up. Because again, when I saw that this guy directed the It's Alive remake, that piece of shit, and The Contractor's like a really fucking boring Wesley Snipes movie that went straight to video. Very fucking forgettable. Just forgettable more. It's a forgettable in one ear out the other flick. And then It's Alive remake is fucking garbage. So again, maybe this guy just gave up. Fuck it, I did this movie, no one cares, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You have to wonder if some directors do feel that way. Like, I like directing, but fuck of me putting effort into it. Whatever. Wesley Snipes direct the video, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But with that said, thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.